Hi everyone, it's me, Luna here, and today we're going to talk about, you know, how, how Sailor Moon's TWOTH run and Cartoon Network or drawing show Folkwork went. Well, it didn't go as long as the first run went, which started in between 98 YL and it ended in 2003 YL. This run started in the end of the 5th month of 2024 YL and ended in the 11th month, I believe, of 2020, and ended in the first or so month of 2025 YL. There were a lot of high hopes. A lot of folks thought, oh, we'll get Sailor Moon, we'll get Sailor Moon R, we'll get S and Sailor Stars, we'll get all the Viz ones. And that was the hope, because a lot of folks believed that that's what would happen. And what we got was just the first run of Sailor Moon, and that was it. First it just at 5, and then 5:30 in the evening. And then later on offshooted itself to being about 3 in the morning. Yeah, that was fun. Now, we lost Cartoon Network or drawing show Folkwork either last year or this year, so it wasn't a big loss. And then they dropped Sailor Moon altogether. So at the end of the day, it wasn't, and we didn't lose that much by not having that Folkwork anymore. But a lot of folks who still have that Folkwork wondered, why did Sailor Moon not do so well on it? Now, I know there's going to be some folks out there who would say you can guilt it on the wire cutters. You know, the ones that know they don't want to have wire or moon. You know, they do everything through the interwebs. Well, even if that's true, you can't guilt it only on those folks. They'll say, oh, well, folks don't really... Buttercup? Now, a lot of folks will say, oh, well, folks don't watch the Farseer like they once did, You can guilt it on streaming websites. Well, I guess so. I mean, yes, it's true that both Disney More and Hulu both still have streaming deals with Viz for Sailor Moon. But not only Sailor Moon and R and S and Sailor Stars, but hers 1, 2, and 3. Maybe also some other things. And yeah, maybe some folks chose to watch Sailor Moon on those websites. And that could have been it. But who really knows? Maybe the looking and watching wasn't doing well. A lot of folks like to have this belief that there's a good time to put something on. Now, I don't know why they chose to be done with it or why it didn't go very well. Now, all I know is that run is over. And while it was going on, it was this great thing. And you know how Sailor Moon and all of them, you saw the films. Anyone who watched the films last year saw how they gave their thoughts on the sagas that they saw. Even though, yes, they may have took freedoms from Deke when it came to names and what was being said, and it had a lot of fun out of it. But I don't know why it was dropped. Folks will say, yeah, they didn't get it really, and folks might say, well, maybe they wanted to get R and S and SS and Stars, and Toei didn't want to get them a deal, or they didn't want to get a deal with Toei. Who knows? All we know is it ended like it did. There was a lot of, high hopes for it to, for Sailor Moon to have Sailor Moon R or Sailor Moon SS or Sailor S, Sailor Moon S or Sailor SS or Sailor Stars. There was hope to get all the Viz ones getting their broadcasting done to them. But it is what it is, and it just did not work out the way we folks saw it. But am I upset over that? No, I wasn't. A lot of folks are going to say, oh, well, once again, how there's so many streaming websites out there, and folks had the disc, and folks are like, oh, well, I'm going to go watch it on Disney More or Hulu, I'm going to go watch it on Crunchyroll, I'm going to have the disc, so why should I watch it on each Friday a week at 5 and 5:30 in the evening? Yeah. That could have been the mindset of some of the folks. But I know I looked forward to it. Well, it is what it is. And then it got dropped. And that was the end of it. And the run did kind of I guess the run was good. I mean, all right. I mean, we were lucky to have gotten it on Cartoon Network, a drawing show, Folkwork, when we did. It was a good thing to see Sailor Moon again, getting its drawings, being broadcasted again in the 4-1 Reichs in a settled land through Cartoon Network or drawing show, Folkwork. To the grounds to why it only lasted a year and a half, who knows? Like I said, your guess is good as mine. And we don't have it anymore. We lost that, but then it's not much of a loss, because there wasn't really, the only thing that we ever did like to watch on there was Sailor Moon, so losing it wasn't, a loss, put it that way. Now, at the end of the day, will Sailor Moon ever get broadcasted again on some other Folkwork out there? Who knows? Your guess is good as mine. I don't know. So, give this film a like, share, and playlist it, and I'll see you later.